which makes you wonder, what's going on in the world. In 1973, Arab oil embargo. 1980s, you remember gold and silver Hunt Brothers peak? Then in 87, you had the Black Monday. 94, you have the famous irrational exuberance with the ensuing Asian meltdown. The 2001, you had the inside 9/11 job. 2008, the Lehman Brothers failures, followed by the...
We're set for another one.
Exactly, and the year 2015 will be known for the United States dollar.
I'll tell you what, Daniel, do 5 more minutes with us. You got to finish with this bombshell info. Then we're going to get another guest on. This is huge.
We're on the mark.
All saying that a massive, massive meltdown is coming, much bigger than 2008. And now it's in the news today. The next great European financial crisis has begun. Business Insider, Greeks are stashing tens of thousands of bundles of euros in their homes ahead of a bank bail-in when they grab your bank account. UK draws up contingency plans as Bank of Greece warns of uncontrollable crisis. I mean, this is big. London Guardian, it's going to be bad. Whatever happens, Greece on the edge of Eurozone exit looms. And then you've got the banks all admitting that they're fixing the interest rates, money laundering, manipulating currencies, manipulating stock markets. I was talking to a very successful hedge fund manager who got bought out a few years ago, but it was a major company, billions of dollars, off record. Ran into him and then looked up who he was, and sure enough, he was who he said he was. A pretty famous guy. I knew I'd see him on TV and stuff. And we were in a restaurant. He came over and talked to me for about 10 minutes. Tried to buy me a drink and stuff. And I'm detoxing, so it was none of that. And he was just scared. And I told you about billionaires 5 years ago that I talked to who were leaving to New Zealand. I told you James Cameron really left because he's scared. Now that's admitted. I mean, I didn't just say that. I knew somebody that knows him well. And Daniel Estulin's on with us. I know he's for real. I know his sources. And he's saying it's the 7-year cycle. Is it artificial? Is it there? Get to where you say this is going, because all the experts, we have the experts on that are right. That's what we have you on. We appreciate you coming on. DanielEstulin.com, best-selling author, joins us, researcher, Bilderberg investigative journalist. But it seems like this new bubble so much bigger than the others. Am I right in saying this could be spectacular? And how bad could it be? I know you got to go, Daniel, so 5 minutes. What else do you want to impart to folks?
Well, it could be spectacular in the sense that you have gold right now at $1,200, $1,300 an ounce. Well, it could very well go to about $50,000 or $60,000 an ounce very shortly. And it's not me saying it. Bloomberg came out and said that, shortly just, before the Bilderberg conference. So I know this was on the agenda. And when we're talking about, the dollar collapsing, and Bilderberg is understand this, and they're cashing out. Or with Bilderberg, or Bloomberg, which is Bilderberg and mainstream, they're talking about this thing actually going to $50,000, $60,000 an ounce. My guess is that Bloomberg has some type of information that China is going to announce their holdings in gold, which means that they have 10,000 tons or 20 or 30, as what Russian Pravda said. So what does that mean to the United States? Well, basically what it means is that after the announcement is made, all the gold holdings, people are going to say, hey, wait a minute, where did these people get the gold from? Well, the obvious answer is from Western vaults, and the biggest Western vault is the United States. So the marketplace will make a judgment between the yuan, the Chinese currency, and the dollar. And, so does that mean that Americans are going to, voluntarily audit their, gold holdings? Obviously not, but the market is going to make them, because basically the marketplace will say, you do an audit, or we'll keep selling the dollars. And so basically we could very much be looking at this massive implosion over the next few months. And the Russians and the Chinese, they haven't pulled the trigger to this point in all this, in-your-face provocation by the West and the United States, because they weren't quite set up, but they are set up now. And I think we'll be seeing, as you said, September. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, too, from a lot of people. So if September comes, start building your Noah Ark now. You still have a little bit of time left.
Well, I tell you, Daniel Estulin, you look at the provocative moves against Russia. China's engaged in some of their own provocative moves, but the West has as well. I'd say that's 50-50 blame. But I look at the Western establishment. Our elites have never acted this reckless. I've never been to Russia. I don't have a dog in the fight. But I don't want to start fights with people. And I can't see geopolitically how destabilizing Poland, Ukraine, and the Caucasus helps the Euro, the West, anybody. I mean, we are truly our elites in our name are cut and dry bad guys. There's really no way to change that. Russia is now allied with Egypt, allied with Greece, allied. China was bigger enemies with them than us. They're now buddy-buddy. The globalists have taken America's soft power and you-know-whatted it away down the toilet. Our elites are super smart, as you know. There's got to be some larger plan. Why would they be destroying our name, risking World War III, and acting so crazy? Or is it megalomania like Napoleon and Hitler got? Do they really think they're invincible? Do they have an ace in the hole or a bevy of aces, a stable of aces, an arsenal of aces that we don't know about?
I don't think so. I think the question is, it's the British Empire. And what basically happens is that they're going down. The economic cycle is going down. You know, the system itself is putrid, and that's about to be, blown out. And so they're willing to destroy the entire world in order to save themselves. Of course, they're also going to go down. There are a lot of unknowns right now. And the only thing we do know is that if this thing gets started anywhere in the world, it's going to get really, really bad. And you're talking about nuclear nations, not just United States, projecting its weakness here or there against a weaker opponent, be it Iraq or Afghanistan or, Grenada. No, we're talking about China, we're talking about Russia, we're talking about India, Pakistan, North Korea. And if you get into the shooting wars with these kinds of things, the odds are it's going to go nuclear. And if it's going nuclear, we all go into hell. Well,
Mark Dice did a video where 80% of the people, 8 out of 10 people, said, let's nuke Russia so we're superior. They went and talked to Russians, did the same thing. They all freaked out and said, what are you, crazy? And almost attacked the cameramen. Because that's a sane response to insanity. And I'm not glorifying the Russians, but what happened to Americans, especially so-called liberals, that they're in this trance because they think the word liberal lets them act like fascist? What happened to the Republican Party trying to sign the TPP? I mean, there really is a collective insanity in the West right now.
Basically, Alex, in the United States, the top two areas where the government is spending most of its money, the first is obvious, it's military. But you know what the second is? Fighting the discontent of the public. And that's how much, how much the elite are afraid of people's discontent. They're actually spending, gazillions of dollars.
That's tens of billions a month.
Number two, after military spending, on making sure that people stay in line on every level of society. Because what used to happen in the 1960s and the early 1970s, the protests and so on and so forth, that is no longer the case. You have an occasional thing here or there, but a generalized thing, because this is a country of 330 million people, and there's a lot of simmering, anti-government protests on every level.
Sure, but they're using high-tech brainwashing to pacify the public.
They're using every way possible to pacify the public, There's a lot of games being played, and if you kind of look at what's going on in America itself, there's a lot of not only race wars, but there's a lot of fighting between, groups of people and races, blacks and whites, men against women. You have, Indians against the Pakistanis. You have the Arabs against the blacks, and all of this kind of stuff. The police against everybody else. All this kind of stuff I have no doubt at all, is orchestrated from behind the scenes, because while you're fighting each other, you don't keep your eye on the bigger prize, which is, survival of the planet itself at the cost of these super.
Sure. So bottom line, the world government is being built. The Pope's out there endorsing it, but at the cost of the planet itself. I mean, they may get world government for about a minute and then blow it up.
It certainly doesn't look good. It's a very, very, very scary situation, especially as you don't have, the politicians that we had in the world in the 60s and the 50s, or actually even the Bilderbergers who built Bilderberg, in 1954 and the early 1960s, the people who came out of the, late 19th century or 20th century, they're not there anymore. Now you have the people who are running the show. You have, the crazy kooks who were born after the Second World War, the baby boomers, and they certainly don't have the gravitas of, the Rockefellers and the Jacksons and the Prince Bernards and these individuals who actually put Bilderberg on the map. And so that's why we have the situation that we're in, because the older generation, the Kissingers who are, 90, the Rockefellers who just turned 100, the Brzezinskis, the Schultzes, these people are old or dead or dying, and so they're completely out of the picture, or they're just about to be out of the picture. And everybody else who basically runs the show right now certainly doesn't have this long, the distant tunnel vision that these others had way back
Well,
when.
sure. That was my final question. DanielEstulin.com. I can't wait to get you on. Your new film, 4 or 5 years in the making, comes out. I've seen some of the cinematography, the trailer, truly amazing. David Rockefeller did just turn 100 on June 12th. I didn't even know that. It just seems like yesterday. He was 94 and put out memoirs. I'm told David Rockefeller has faded. That's why Senator Rockefeller retired to take over the reins. For those that don't know, David Rockefeller has been there since his father set up the UN and the entire global government infrastructure. I mean, is anybody in modern world history more important than David Rockefeller? And what's the word on him?
Well, he's completely out of the picture. He's 100, so it's. I don't think he's altogether intellectually can be altogether. Certainly, Gaga is. I don't think he'll be going to any public meetings. I don't think we'll be seeing very much of him because of this kind of this advanced stage. Even if we just put his 6th heart transplant in, but it doesn't make any difference. When you're 100, you're 100. Nature doesn't give time out, and he's out of the picture. But again, him being out of the picture only means that there's nobody else taking over the reins, so to speak, of organizations such as Bilderberg, and also the fact that there's no new blood. There's the people who are there. They all come from the same walks of life. They all talk to each other the same kind of language. And as Bilderberg,
they're in a bubble. They're in a bubble. They're in a bubble. They're smoking their own dope.
Exactly, Alex. They're in a bubble, and that means that there is going to come the time, not too long from now, if we're still around, that Bilderberg is going to be completely, irrelevant, simply because the people who are there, they simply don't understand how the world works beyond, the 4 walls that they operate within.
Amazing. Well, I can't. When is your film coming out? I mean, I've seen clips of it.
The film is done. Yeah, we just needed to put this last little bit of the Bilderberg meeting itself into the film, and it's finished. And we're going to be premiering in the United States in September.
Well, I want to get you on then. Anytime you want to come on, we'd love to have you. Thank you, Daniel Estulin. Amazing information.
Thank you. Sure.
That is thank you, sir. That's a true investigative journalist right there, the highest caliber.